As a student, Kalam wasn't a topper in every subject. He wasn't the genius everyone copied notes from. In fact, he struggled in many areas. But in mathematics and later physics, his eyes lit up. He stayed late after class, asking questions. He borrowed books when he couldn't afford them. He sat under streetlights because his home didn't always have electricity. While others wasted hours, he invested them. And here lies the first lesson from Kalam's story. You don't need to be born a genius, but you must be born curious. Curiosity turns average students into extraordinary minds. But the journey wasn't smooth. After school, Kalam wanted to become a fighter pilot. It was his childhood dream. He applied, trained hard, studied endlessly, and when the results came, he was crushed. He ranked ninth. Only the top 8 were selected. He failed. That dream was over. Can you imagine the pain? To work so hard only to miss your goal by just one step? Most people would collapse under that disappointment, but Kalam didn't. He looked up at the sky he could not conquer as a pilot, and instead he decided to conquer it as a scientist. Sometimes failure doesn't end your dream, it redirects it. Kalam moved to Madras Institute of Technology. There he was not just another student. He began building small airplanes, designing projects that stunned his professors. His passion was unshakable. After graduation, he joined DRDO and later ISRO. And here begins the chapter that turned him from a struggling boy into the missile man of India. At ISRO, he was part of the team that launched India's first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3. Imagine the pressure. A young nation, limited resources, outdated technology, and the world laughing at India's space dreams. The first attempt failed. Rockets crashed. Systems malfunctioned. Newspapers mocked the scientists. But Kalam didn't quit. Instead, he stayed longer in the lab, inspired his colleagues, and worked harder. On the second attempt, the rocket soared into space successfully, carrying India's pride with it. Pause for a second. Think about it. The same boy who once sold newspapers was now sending satellites into the sky. That's not just a success story. That's destiny rewritten with hard work. And yet, the journey wasn't over. Kalam moved into defense research, where he developed ballistic missiles like Agni and Prithvi. The world finally noticed. India, once considered weak and dependent, now had its own missile program, thanks to this man and his team. And that's why he was called the Missile Man. But here's what made Kalam different. He wasn't just building machines. He was building people. He spoke to students, encouraged young scientists, motivated anyone who would listen. While many leaders hide behind closed doors, Kalam opened his arms to the youth. He would say, "Dream, dream, dream." Dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result in action. He didn't just say it, he lived it. In 2002, Abdul Kalam became the 11th president of India. For 5 years, he served the nation not as a politician, but as a teacher, a mentor, a friend of the people. He was called the people's president. He refused luxury, lived simply, and kept his focus on inspiring the next generation. When his term ended, he went back to teaching, because in his heart, he was always a teacher first. And that's another lesson. No matter how high you rise, never forget where your true passion lies. Now let me share something powerful. Do you know how he passed away? Not in a hospital bed, not in silence. He collapsed while giving a lecture to students at IIM Shillong in 2015. Think about that. His last breath was taken while teaching. Isn't that the perfect ending for a man who dedicated his entire life to learning and sharing knowledge? So what does Kalam's journey teach us? That your background doesn't define you. Your failures don't define you. Your money, your looks, your grades, none of these define your destiny. What defines you is your perseverance, your curiosity, and your refusal to quit. Kalam was not extraordinary by birth. He became extraordinary through consistency, and that is the secret you must carry with you. Now, I want you to imagine yourself years from now. You've achieved your dream, whatever it is. Maybe you're an engineer, a doctor, an entrepreneur, an artist. Your family is proud. Your community respects you. You look back and you realize every late night, every early morning, every sacrifice was worth it. That vision can be your reality if you choose to walk the same path of discipline and hope that Kalam walked. Let me ask you this. If you had just one chance to change your life, would you take it? or let it slip away? Write your answer in the comments. I read each one. And here's my final word for you. Success is not about talent, money, or luck. It's about refusing to quit. The boy who failed to become a pilot became the president of a nation. The child who sold newspapers gave wings to a billion dreams. The man who was doubted became the most trusted leader. If Abdul Kalam could do it, so can you. But only if you believe, only if you act, and only if you never give up. If you found this story inspiring, make sure you subscribe now, because the next video might be the one that gives you the exact step you need to change your life forever. Don't miss it. Imagine the day you finally achieve your dream. What's the first thing you'd do for your family? Write it in the comments. I want to hear your vision. And remember, dreams are not those you see when you sleep. Dreams are those that keep you awake. Abdul Kalam proved it. Now it's your turn.